What's up? This is Austin.
This is Aloysius.
This is Jia Wei.
Kenneth here.
Plug here.
Recently, I think I was doing the MBTI quiz. Then I got my results, and apparently, for some weird reason, I'm introverted. How about you guys?
Why is it for some weird reason? Did you expect yourself to be an extrovert?
I mean, who starts a conversation with "What's up" as an introvert?
Only
Why
you,
not?
actually.
I think a lot of times when people talk about introverts and extroverts, they kind of misunderstand what the terms mean. What do you guys think it means if you're an introvert, or what does it mean if you're an extrovert?
Yeah, so what's the definition? But before that, so all of us are introverts, right? Just and we happen to be in the Agile Scrum business.
And we're still here doing this podcast together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that people listen to our podcast, they think we're extroverts?
Maybe given the way we interact with each other, maybe, just maybe.
Just maybe. So one thing
So,
about
yeah.
what I know about the definition of being extrovert versus introvert, not really read but heard talk about it, is that if you are an extrovert, so you can be more productive or you are more creative when you are talking to people. Whereas you are more creative if you are doing it alone. Like most of the time, if you're alone and or just walking or just being by yourself, then you got to think more things or more creative things rather than being with people. So that's one aspect that I have known based on uh, speaking engagement that I have attended with regards to what's the definition. It's kind of new, maybe the introvert versus extrovert topic. What do you think about that?
I think what I heard is the way you draw your energy. So extroverts usually draw energy from people, and introvert draws their energy internally. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So
yeah.
any other definition or
That's-
something that you have heard?
I heard Aloysius one as well. Anyone else has any other? If not, do you guys think it'll be better to have like introverts or extroverts in like your agile team? Or have you guys have any experience where, there's a lot more introverts or a lot more extroverts and how it worked out for the team?
I don't think there's really any hard and fast rule per se, because that being said, an introvert or extrovert, in a sense, by definition, it's a very broad way of, in a sense, what it may be, in a sense, grouping people. But in a team, there's a lot more going than just introvert versus extrovert. So you can have a team that maybe has a good mix, but they will complement each other. I would say more importantly, it's perhaps more towards the way of working and the dynamics within the group, personally.
Have you heard stereotype where when people say that Scrum Master should be extroverts? I got it before while working in the government.
Oh, really? That's my first time that having heard about Scrum Master being stereotyped as extrovert.
Oh my god, are they advertised?
Did they explain the stereotype?
I don't know. I think it's probably they feel a Scrum Master should be like bringing a lot of energy to the team, like what extroverts usually do.
No, but how much energy you bring doesn't necessarily reflect how you gain energy.
Yes, I think on the
If you
contrary. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
No, I just wanted to explain because it's like you can give a lot of energy doesn't mean that you're gaining energy at the same time, or that you're gaining a lot of energy, that's why you're spreading energy. You can spread energy but still be really tired.
Yes, I think for introvert it'd be very tiring to spread a lot of energy and it might especially the energy is not well spent. On the contrary, I thought an introvert would make a good scrum master because of the listening skills. Yeah, so introvert tends to maybe listen a bit more. Anyone?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And also the hard part, especially if you're a Scrum Master, um, you're always kind of facilitating, and it's expected of you to be always the one that initiate the conversation. So probably that's the misunderstanding why Scrum Master needs to be an extrovert. And at the same time, when you try to deal with people in the team, if you're the Scrum Master or Agile coach in a Scrum team, the hard part is actually how to get the idea of people that are introvert. Because normally, if there's a mixture of extrovert and introvert, then the extrovert will just be owning the conversation. It's easy. They don't need to. They don't need to open themselves, and especially if the team is just forming, very new. Then extrovert is always the voice that you will always hear in a team that is a mixture of introvert and extrovert. Now, I'll also give you a scenario. I don't know if you have experienced that. If the whole Scrum team is composed of introverts, so what will happen? I mean, have you experienced that? Something like that? Like, for extrovert, no problem. You got people talking to each other. But introverts, have anyone experienced something like that here?
Before I go ahead with that, I just want to chip in on another like kind of definition or interpretation I've heard before. I'm not sure if it's a stereotype though, that someone has said that they feel like introverts tend to think more before they say something, but extroverts might say it while they think it, or like think about it after they've said it out. And because of this, I think there's definitely pros and cons if like the Scrum Master is an introvert or an extrovert. But talking about like like people not speaking up as much, I feel like it also goes back to like the different learning styles. So there's like four learning styles, right? There's the visual, auditory, like reading, writing, and kinesthetic. I feel like if someone is more auditory or then they might be able to speak up more, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're an extrovert as well. So back to Kenneth's I think maybe you're also trying to ask if there's a group that's just really quiet in general, maybe. Like the assumption might be that they're quiet because they're introverted. I don't think I've had a like very extreme experience, but I feel like there's definitely been a time where most of my team are quite quiet, or keep to themselves more because they are just like more quiet people. But I don't think it really affects the way we work. Um, and I think that works out well as well because then like there's time for different information and messages to sink in for everyone, and then they can all express their views afterwards, and there's less pressure to come to decisions or talk about what they think or feel as soon as it's being shared.
I think to add on to the point, I also did a survey from I think one of my companies I work in. I think 90% are introverts. So I think the key is, and surprising the 10%, quite a few are managers. So they did quite a good job doing cheerleaders, I must say. But I think I want to emphasize is the key for Scrum Master is to provide a safe space. So introvert doesn't mean you don't speak out. You just need to make sure the introverts are comfortable speaking out. I think that is the key. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a curious question. I don't know if this is assumption or so. Are we assuming that all introverts are definitely quiet? and all extroverts are definitely more outspoken. Is that a definition or is that a general stereotype assumption?
When I mentioned it just now, it was more of like kind of like a generalization or a stereotype. It's not like a definition.
Yeah, I think we cannot yeah, no, I think we cannot make that yeah, assumption probably. Yeah.
Mm.
About speaking up.
Yeah, so that I think for me, for the introvert, they just have this tendency not to speak out, but it's also because of this tendency of the extrovert to speak out themselves before other speaks out. So hence, maybe we can have this notion that introverts really doesn't want to speak out. But what I also have observed, or in my experience, is that if if the team is already quite matured and they know that okay, everyone has their point, so yeah, they give each other space wherein each one has equal voice or something. So what we can do, especially if yeah you want to break this ice between introvert and extrovert, which is quite effective, is actually maybe just go in a quite informal way, like taking lunch together or playing games, for example, those informal that is not really work related, then you can really break a lot of ice and hence the psychological safety will be built up and also the trust and camaraderie will also be built up using that technique.
I think one of the things that um actually Aloysius suggested doing way back I remember is to have one-on-one conversations with the team members because there's when there's like a big group people might not speak up, but if it's one-on-one then they are more likely to share their thoughts and views.
Yeah, that's why introvert Scrum Master do. You have one to actually in your circle of Scrum Master, do you majority introverts or extroverts? Curious to know. I think for my circles, I think most of the time they are introverts.
I think introverts as well. But so interesting thing, for one of my teams, actually way before I joined, they actually did an MBTI together. Like they did a MBTI activity together. So they know everyone's MBTIs. And the developers who tend to like have a straight face and don't speak a lot are actually extroverts. While the people who mostly speak a lot are actually the introverts. So yeah, that was an
Interesting,
interesting experience.
kind of interesting experience. But maybe it depends also on how long is the team member has been with the team. So maybe that's already the comfort zone of the introvert versus the extrovert, which is probably new, or I don't know, maybe the introverted person has already gotten the respect and responsibility on that person. So probably he's also just expressing out the frustration of, or maybe the pain points that he's undergoing. So yeah, it's kind of hard actually, with especially with this MBTI. We're not always like, for example, everyone here is introvert, but we're not always introvert in our daily life. So when it calls for us to become extrovert, even if we need to push ourselves to become in another character which is not our natural, then yeah, we can be extrovert when the situation calls, especially during facilitation, for
Yes,
example.
yes.
So yeah, so it's not
Totally
really,
agree.
yeah, it's not really, MBTI is maybe just an indicator, but it's not, will not, cannot really describe our character. Like we're not, we're not machines, we're human beings. We are always adjusting, and it's a good thing, so that we are not just contained with 16 personality types, because I believe everyone here has quite uniqueness in ourselves, in our dealings with people.
Yeah, I think agree. I think it's just like we are not like 100% zero. Except for Austin for thinking, it's 90%. But I think introvert, extrovert, I think we are like in a spectrum. So I believe a effective Scrum Master should be able to handle both kind of attributes, like talking to new people, getting uncomfortable, and also for extroverted Scrum Masters, they probably have to uh, think deep about problems, analysis of blockers, or the root cause of these things. Yeah, so you need to have a bit of both.
I agree with that, Aloysius, and especially how to really communicate or foster the communication in the team. And it's not just the job of Scrum Master, but it's the job of everyone to respect and also to know how to deal with the maybe different levels of being introvert and extroverted. So it goes along the way, and the important thing is to work together and have a common vision as a team to be successful.
But
So
even
what's
so, a lot of the things we talked about are having to communicate with people and reach out and take care of like both the introverts and extroverts on the team. So I feel like having an introverted Scrum Master, the Scrum Master might be more energy drained than the extroverted Scrum Master because they have to take energy into like bridging or communicating with more people. Whereas when the extroverted Scrum Masters are doing this, they might be gaining energy from these people like at the same time. But the introverted Scrum Master will be like doing all of this, and then in the end, they still have to spend like time to like kind of recuperate alone.
So is it back to the statement where it depends lah whether a Scrum Master is better as introvert extrovert? It depends lah.
Team
Yeah,
dynamic dependent, is it?
yeah, we need to deal with the unique situation because each combination of human beings, like a team, will be very different from one team to another. So hence, yeah, that cliche of it depends, it's really applying here. Otherwise, if it's not like that, then probably AI can be the scrum master of a team if it's really deterministic, right? So yeah, I think I appreciate with this kind of thing that, yeah, dealing with human behavior, which is quite unpredictable rather than very, very predictable. So it makes life quite exciting rather than boring.
I don't think it depends lah because I don't think I don't think there'll ever be an answer, even if it depends on the situation, whether an introverted or extroverted Scrum Master is better suited for the team. But it's just whether or what the Scrum Master does or tries to do to help the team move above and beyond. And it doesn't matter if he or she is an introvert or an extrovert, but it's just how you know yourself well, and you know how to make things work for your team.
Yeah, as long the Scrum values are adhered to, whether the Scrum Master has done a good job. Yeah. Yeah, so this is a myth. So this cannot be. So I think, yeah, it can be good Scrum Master even you're extrovert, introvert. I think that's the conclusion we're coming to.
So gladly, all of us, even though we're introverts, we're still qualified as Scrum Masters. So I guess we can continue having this agile learning podcast. And we'll come back next time to talk about another topic.
It depends lah. It depends.
Yeah,
Okay, we're gonna end it here before we all get annoyed by Austin. Thank you. Bye bye.
thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
For the
Bye.
thinking part from
See
Austin.
you next session.